Good morning and happy Foodie Friday. It's Friday, February 16th already. I can't believe it. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. My name is Tanya, if you've never landed here before. This is my business page and I share this with my husband, Derek. But today we're going to be talking a little bit about baking and I'll share with you some information at the end, but just a little bit about me if you've never met me before. I am here in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, and we have been with our family for the last over 3 years. Formerly from Ontario, Canada, in Kitchener. And we made this move a few years ago because we wanted a better lifestyle for our family. And we realized that the hustle and bustle of Ontario just wasn't working for us. And we found that we spent a lot more time on the road if we wanted to go somewhere. My husband, Derek, used to do a brutal commute actually to his job, an hour and a half each way. So I don't know what you would do in that instance, in that situation. I don't know how he did it, but he managed to do that for almost 12 years. And, it started off as 45 minutes on the road and then it grew to an hour and a half. So anyway, that's beside the point. But we're here today because we want to share with you how we can entertain you with some baking. This is one of my favorite pastimes. So I always love doing this on Fridays. And if you're joining me for the first time, welcome. And I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. If you are across the globe or if you're here local, again, we're in Alberta, Canada, and it is now just about 11 a.m. and that's Mountain Standard Time. And you know what? Tune in and let me know where you're tuning in from as well. And sorry about that. It looks like I had a little interruption there. And so anyway, we're going to be going further on to talk about what we can do for baking. And today we've got a recipe called Walnut Banana Bread. And it's one of my favorite classic recipes, the banana bread. Sometimes I make muffins, sometimes it's cake. Today we're going to do bread. And so I've actually got my loaf pan already prepared. And the other first thing that we love to do is to put the oven on. So today it's going to be at 350. So my oven takes a little bit of time to preheat, so I'll let it do its thing while I'm preparing here. And one thing I always like to suggest at the beginning is to grab all your ingredients. Grab them from the pantry or from your cupboard and have them all out in front of you so that you're not racing back and forth trying to remember this item and that item. And, sometimes we just don't want to make a mess, but sometimes that's the best way so that you can see everything and, your recipe is just going to go that much faster, get it in the oven that much faster, and then you can clean up after while it's baking. So without further ado, we've got that going. We've got my bowl here and I've got all the ingredients. Now what I normally do too is I will pre-measure all the ingredients just so I'm saving a little bit of time for you because I know your time is valuable. So we're going to start off with actually the wet ingredients. This is the dry, but I'm going to just go ahead and, the first ingredient is the mashed bananas. So I usually just do it on a plate the old-fashioned way with a fork. And so that you've still got a little bit of lumps there. It's not pureed, but it's a nice consistency. So I'm going to dump that in first. And also, when it comes to recipes, we want to do the wet with the wet and the dry with the dry. And you'll notice that probably in a lot of recipes that you do where you combine, except for sometimes you've got a one bowl recipe, which is amazing, but it depends on the recipe itself. So there's a reason for that, and it's how the things are emulsified or they're blended in. So usually for the dry, especially if you have a baking soda or baking powder, you want to get that mixed into the flour, and that way it's going to do its magic afterwards. So while I'm doing this, I also like to get to know who you are and where you're tuning in from, as I mentioned. So as I said, we're here in Alberta. We're experiencing really nice sunny weather, but it's cold. It's actually gone down to -20 again. I don't know how this is happening, but we had a very mild January, and now we're getting into the cooler temperatures. So I'm just going to add the egg here. That was 2 eggs that was already beaten, and half a cup of oil, or you can use melted butter. I like the oil, especially for today's purposes, because then it doesn't harden before I come on here to share this recipe with you. So it's nice that it's versatile. I use olive oil. Now, olive oil actually has a bit of a flavor to it, so it depends on if you like that flavor or not, if that's something that you want to incorporate in your recipes. I always have it on hand, so I feel a bit healthier using that. But you can use vegetable oil or butter, and also a teaspoon of vanilla. So I've already pre-measured that as well. So I'm going to get that all in there together. And really that one, we're just going to whisk it this time. So I will use this whisk here and get that all together. So what are your plans this weekend? I love Fridays because, you know, it's the tip of the weekend and all our family is usually home. My daughter is off. She doesn't have her classes today. Derek usually works from home, and then Braden's off at I think usually 11:30, but he does a games thing afterwards. So then usually he gets picked up at 12:30, which is really nice. So he gets to hang out with some of his friends right after school. And there's a teacher there that, you know, hangs out with them and stuff. So it's really, really nice that he's got that advantage. Okay, so that's the first step. So I've got that all, I'm going to put that aside. And now I'm going to grab my medium bowl and I'm going to go ahead and get the dry ingredients. So I've got 1.5 cups of flour. I've got my half teaspoon of salt and my baking soda. I believe there's a half teaspoon as well there. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my nutmeg and my cinnamon. Those are kind of a secret ingredients. Not every recipe calls for that, and I thought I want to add that. And then it also calls for nuts. So I'm going to actually put that in there, and I'm just going to give it a quick stir and make sure that it's all combined. This is a quick recipe, I'll tell you. You know, especially when you have all the ingredients already pre-measured. There you go. You can see what I'm doing there. Yeah, there we go. So it's almost all together. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some nuts on the top too. And that'll make it look pretty and, you know, taste even, you know, more incredible. But yeah, I thought I'll pick a quick recipe. And normally what I do is I will pick a recipe that has ingredients that you already have at home so that you can quick after. And I always leave it in the comments. And that's what I put in the description, that you will always get a recipe to take away. And I also encourage you to go back and check out my other previous Foodie Fridays and gather all the, sorry about that, a little delay there again. And then you can grab all the recipes and put them all in one place and you've got them and you can enjoy them, you know, with your family, share them, whatever you want to do. And, you know, have a look at, you know, previous outcomes too, because what I'll do is I'll do a live and then I'll do a reel that will show the background and the finished product. So you can see for yourself if that's something that you want to make for you and your family. All right, so now the next step is to combine the two. So I've got the wet ingredients here and I'm just gonna add the dry. Now the secret here too is you don't wanna overmix it. You just wanna blend it until it's incorporated. So I'm just gonna do sort of like a folding technique here. Not really, you know, going too quickly or, you know, trying to make it whipped. You really just want to make sure that the wet, you know, is incorporated with the dry, or the dry is incorporated with the wet, and that way you know that it's going to turn out and it's going to rise. And that's the main thing, is that we want it to be able to rise. If you over whip it or if you over stir, that is the problem, that you will have a sinking loaf at the end. So I'm just doing this and I'm noticing that it's still, you know, quite wet on the bottom. So yeah, I was asking you, what are your plans? Do you live somewhere that's cold or warm? Like, do you have a beach near you? Because I would be jealous if that's the case. I just love summer. That is my favorite season. But here we are in winter, and now we're finally getting the temperatures where the kids and Derek can hit the slopes and they can do their snowboarding. So we're looking forward to that. And here in Canada, we have Family Day that's happening on Monday. So we've got a bit of a longer weekend, and actually the kids are off. Jasmine has a week off from college, and you know, Derek has Monday off, and Braden has a week off as well. So we'll see what the week brings. Maybe some game days, you know, some fun things outside other than snowboarding, and I'll probably join them. And I'll have Neo in my care while they're on the slopes, and I always love to do that and join them and, you know, get some really good shots of them and stuff like that. Okay, well, that's it. So I've incorporated all that. I'm just going to grab my loaf pan and literally just dump it into the loaf pan here. I've got some nice chunks too of the banana, so that's going to be really good when you bite into the loaf there. And just going to give it a quick scrape, see what what I can get out of here first. Don't want to waste any of the batter. And this also, you can use either an 8x4 or I believe 9x4. Mine happens to be a 9x4 loaf pan. So it's either or, which I love. So it's, you know, interchangeable that way. Okay, and then I'm just going to spread it so that it's going to cook evenly. So I'm just going to put it in the corners and I'll give you a little peek. And so you can see for yourself. There we go. And I do these every Friday, and I have done it for the last few months. Gosh, I stopped counting. I think it was back in October that I started doing these. So, I missed a few weeks because, there was holidays or something like that, but mostly, showing up on the Friday mornings and having you join me. Okay, so there is the banana bread ready to go in the oven. However, I can't put it in right now at the moment. I still have a blue light, which means I have to wait for it to preheat. But once that happens, I'll pop it in the oven. It's about 50 to 60 minutes. So depending on your oven, you'll want to have a look and keep an eye on it. And also at about the 40-minute mark, give it a check because sometimes the top will get more baked than the rest. So what you can do there, a little trick is you can put a little piece of foil on top, and that way it's not going to keep browning on the top and then, eventually looking like it's burnt. We don't want that. So about the 40-minute mark, and I do have that in the notes as well on the recipe. So, and again, you can change some of the ingredients if you want to put chippets in there, or if you want to put cranberries. There's some different suggestions there. I happen to be I actually put pecans in the mix, and I'm putting walnuts on the top because I'm a nut lover. So I just wanted to make it look pretty with the walnuts, but have the flavor of the pecans and the nutmeg and the cinnamon, melding together. All right, well, I do thank you so much for stopping by. And if you're watching me on the replay, again, let me know where you're tuning in from. I love to know how global we are. And if you have a suggestion for the next recipe or, a couple weeks down the road, I'd love to hear some of your ideas. I've been trying to change it up. I've been doing loaves. I've been doing muffins, cookies, cake, you name it. I did biscuits and I did scones as well. So if you have something, that's altogether different, I'd love to hear it, and I'll give it a go. All right. Oh, thank you so much for tuning in, Gina. I just see you now. It's too bad that I had a delay there. So I probably did, you probably came in earlier and I just didn't see you, but yes, you're coming in from Vancouver. I hope that you're having a wonderful day, and I hope it's not raining for you. I know a lot of times you guys get rain there. So we get the snow and you get the rain. Oh, you're so welcome. I hope that you have a great Family Day weekend too. And I hope that you enjoy, maybe you'll make this recipe with your daughter. I know you guys have been doing some little cooking sessions too. So I hope that you enjoy that as well. But thank you so much, and take care and have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Again, let me know where you're tuning in from, and maybe I'll be able to give you a shout out and say hello to you. All right. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Wonderful. And we'll see you soon. Bye for now.